For the levels 2 and above, simply copy the tiling and supports of the general area floor finish. So I'm just going to select the 2, make sure you have all selected and then a number 2 here in the info box, and then simply go to edit or use the shortcut Control-C, Command-C to copy those elements. Let's then go up one level to level 2, and let's get rid of the current slab using floor finishing that is used for the floor finishes, and simply delete that. And now you can just paste in the original location the elements we have copied. Click outside and the elements should be in the right place. Now, to finish this, let's adjust the floor finish we have in the hall. And as you know, it only takes a small subtraction around the door area and then readjusting the edge to match the one in the inside of the hole. Now, let's repeat that for all the levels above, and let's show you how that's going to look like once you finish. So you should have all those levels now with both the supports and the tiling all the way to level 9, like so. Now that we're here, let's take the opportunity to do one more floor finish, but this time it's going to be an external floor finish to finalize the slab on top of level 2. So this one is not quite an internal floor finish, but rather the topping on the roof area. So for the insulation in the roof, let's go back to our level 2 floor plan. And now let's focus on this area here outside and select the mesh tool. Then click on the favorites and use the concrete slab with top slopes. Just double click on that. And now I'm just going to draw manually, or you can try using the magic wand, the edges of this roof area. Like so. Now let's take a look at that in 3D. And you probably will see just a thickness on top of the existing slab. That's all right. That's going to be what we will normally call a concrete screed or topping. And then let's change the finish on the top. So I'm going to change the surface. And instead of using that grass green, let's go ahead and use this insulation solid brown. Something like that. Now, the key of detailing this particular part of the model is to provide the slopes that's going to help us with the drainage. So let's go back to the plan view. Let's zoom in that area and let's go to the layers, and only temporarily let's switch on the hydraulics. So all the plumbing elements. Now you can see where the drainage points will be. And that's exactly where we want to be, having the drainage point of this concrete top. Now, let's make sure that the mesh itself, which is what you should have selected there, is not on the layer slabs, but rather on the layer roof. So let's go to Design, Architectural, and then Roof. Next, let's add the drainage point simply by selecting the mesh roof element and then select the mesh tool. This is important. You need to have the element selected and then select the mesh tool. Now, with the geometry method, polygonal, having selected, you just need to click twice on the same spot in order to create a new mesh point. Then click on OK and move it right on the center of your drainage point, right about there. Now let's do the same thing with drainage on the top. Click twice on the same spot and then click on OK, then move it to the center of your drainage point. Now what we're going to do now is give it a level. So it's going to be sunk down by 100 mil. So let's click on it And using your pet palette, let's use the Z value and type in -100. That's going to sync the point by 100 millimeters in that point. So let's click on OK. And now let's do the same thing on the one on the top. And you can see how the mesh itself started creating the drainage, the ridges of the planes that are draining down. Now, what we should do is then split this in two areas. So you have one area here in the middle that drains to this point right here, and one above that drains to that point there. And let's use, for now, the fact that we have a corner right there. So what I'm going to do is then let's use a temporary guideline and align that with that hotspot right there. And again, you need to have the element selected and have the tool active, the mesh tool active. So what I'm going to do next is simply click close, but not on top of the hotspot, not even on top of the guideline, but rather outside. And the last point should be right on this node where the guideline intersects the edge. Now that's going to be a line that is going to act as a ridge. And then let's move this node, not by moving it in elevation, but rather move the node to the corner right there. And then you'll have split these two sides. Let's go to the 3D window. And I should be able to see that split acting right there. Now we're still missing one thing. We want to be able to see the drainage points and very likely create a little opening for that in there. So let's do that. So select the opening tool and set it to a circular shape, and then change the size to 100 millimeters. Now, let's get closer to the center of this and simply click right there where you have the node. That's going to create an opening to the mesh. Now you need to extend that opening to the slab. So let's select the opening again, like so. Click on the item and click the plus symbol, and now select the slab element, like so. So now we should have an opening that goes and penetrates the slab again. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but for now, let's open and change the layers. So open the layer palette and go to the layer MEP and plumbing and switch that on so that we can see that drainage pipe, like so. So you can see the opening right there. If you want, you can actually change the sizing. Like for now, we know that that sizing is equivalent to a much higher pipe. So let's start by dragging these down. So these should go all the way there. And the pipe should be then connected to the lower portion of that drainage point. Like so. Let's move up. And you'll have a nice drainage point right there. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And let's add the opening. You can put it on the side and then move it manually. Like so. And simply align it with the center of the pipes. Let's add the slab. And then adjust the piping. Like so. Okay, let's continue now with the other finishes, and I'm going to go back to the ground floor and start from there.